good. All right. I apologize for the quality of this video. This is impromptu, and I'm just doing this from a relative's office. I'm actually visiting family right now. I'm with family to be with them for my brother's birthday coming up. So I wanted to talk real quick about Oleksandr Usyk defeating Anthony Joshua by unanimous decision. And I haven't watched the entire fight yet. I watched the whole first half. I saw the last few rounds. So I missed like 7, 8, and 9. I gotta still watch them. But from what I saw, it looked like an 8 rounds to 4 kind of a fight. So a couple quick thoughts, because I've already seen like the usual suspects on Twitter just trying to discount this victory. And I think that there's a few things that are just evident right away, okay? First of all, if Oleksandr Usyk retires today, he's in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have to ever fight again. He's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's about to win Fighter of the Year for 2021. It's a lock. I don't care what happens, Canelo Plant, Crawford Porter, or the third fight between Fury and Wilder. Whatever happens, doesn't matter. Oleksandr Usyk is the 2021 Fighter of the Year. So that's going to be the second time he's won that award, okay? And then if we're looking at the Cruiserweight division, and we're looking at 5 titles, right? We're talking about the ring linear title, and then the BC, BA, BO, and then the IBF. Those 5 belts, Usyk had all those, right? He had them all simultaneously, cleaned out the division. He did the tournament, World Boxing Super Series, won that. And then he moves up to heavyweight. And I've talked about this on my show before. The hardest move up in weight in all of boxing is cruiserweight to heavyweight. It's discounted because a lot of the fighters in cruiserweight are not American, so the American boxing media kind of discounts it. But moving from light heavyweight to cruiser and then cruiserweight to heavyweight, that is the hardest move to make in all of boxing. And Usyk does that, and I've talked about this. He was a 200-pound fighter. He weighed 221 for this fight. I think it was 221. 200-pound fighter, bulking up to fight a guy who walks around at 250, who slimmed down to be 240 for this fight. So again, for your math geniuses out there, that's 25% of body mass index, okay? Just a much naturally larger man. Now, doing that, and now he has 3 of the belts at heavyweight. He's got the WBA, WBO, IBF. There's still the WBC title, and then there's the ring/lineal championship, which both of those belong to Tyson Fury, and he will fight Deontay Wilder in their third fight coming up now. So if there's 10 titles at cruiserweight and heavyweight, Usyk has won 8 of them. That's massive. He's done that. He's about to win Fighter of the Year again. He's won a tournament, and he's done this in less than 20 pro fights in an era where a lot of fighters like Gervonta Davis, who insulted Oleksandr Usyk's victory on Twitter tonight, said he wasn't impressed, which I found hilarious. I had to troll Gervonta on that one. It was sad to see him do that, but I wasn't surprised. A lot of fighters gave Usyk props, but there's also a lot of guys hating, and there's a lot of people already hating in the media and just the usual suspects, like I said. But guys like Gervonta Davis move up and down in weight and fight for regular titles, interim titles, all this stuff. Usyk didn't do any of that bullshit. In his 3rd fight at heavyweight, that's another thing people aren't talking about. Usyk didn't fuck around and do 8, 9, 10 fights. He took a test the waters kind of fight against Witherspoon. Then it was Chisora, who's a really solid perennial contender, but in some really good fights, defeated a couple tough heavyweights, given just about everybody a hard, tough fight that he has fought. On any given night, he could give anybody in the top 10 hell. Usyk defeats him, then puts it all together and beats Joshua tonight. So the accomplishment is historic, okay? And people are bringing up Evander Holyfield's name, which I understand. I understand that comparison. Real quick, before I forget about this, I saw a super chat from Deed3440. Thank you so much, Deed. He says, Usyk beating everyone on their home turfs. That's another great point, brother. That's another great point. Usyk is doing this on the road. He's not marinating it. He's not demanding people come to his network or they do it on his platform with his promoter in his backyard, et cetera, like we see so many fighters, particularly American fighters, doing. Usyk's doing all this work on the road, dude. And when in an era where, I mean, look at Deontay Wilder's first 20 fights. Look at Tyson Fury's first 20 fights. And compare that to Oleksandr Usyk's first, I think tonight was his 19th fight. Let me double check that. But yeah, tonight was his 19th pro fight. In 19 pro fights, look at what this man has accomplished. It is unparalleled in modern boxing history. Certainly unparalleled in the cruiserweight and super heavyweight era, the four belt era. Never happened before. So back to Evander Holyfield, real quick, okay? When Evander Holyfield was the legitimate cruiserweight champion and unified, I think there were 3 titles at the time. He unified all 3 of them. I think it was the IBF was the new one, and it was brand new. Nobody really respected it, but it was a brand new one. And the cruiserweight division didn't start until I think it was 1979, maybe 1980. So when Holyfield became the cruiserweight champion, the cruiserweight division was in its infancy. It was seen by many people, including most of the American boxing media and the boxing networks. It was seen kind of the way we look at Bridgerweight right now, guys. I want you to put that into perspective. That's how the way we look at Bridgerweight and we kind of laugh and giggle about that. And we're like, oh, this is never going to catch on. It's a fad. It'll go away in a year or two. That is how people looked at the cruiserweight division. In fact, it was called the junior heavyweight division back then. And it was only 190 pounds. Okay, it was very, very young. It was in its infancy. So what Evander Holyfield did set a precedent. He was the first legitimate cruiserweight champion. He deserves credit for that. But the division was in its infancy. It was seen by many the way we look at Bridgerweight right now. It was not the mature 40-year-old division with a wealth of global talent that Oleksandr Usyk fought in. He fought in that division. It was not 190, it was 200 at that point, so it was a little heavier. That gets a little more competition. There was all these sanctioning organizations were in, and there was 40 years of history in that division when Usyk fought in it. Almost 40 years, just under 40 years, I believe. And he cleaned it out. And he won all the titles. He won the tournament. There was one close fight with Marius Bradis, but other than that, he pretty much dominated the opposition. And several of his victories were over guys who are now fighting as heavyweight contenders right now, okay? One of them, I think, is in the top 10 right now. And Usyk completely dominated him. So his cruiserweight accomplishments, in my opinion, trump what Evander Holyfield did. Now, that doesn't mean I rate Usyk higher, pound for pound, all-time great or anything, not yet, than Holyfield. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is Usyk is already, based on everything I just told you guys, okay? For some of you younger guys or guys who just don't have the boxing knowledge or history, just listen to what I just told you about the different types of cruiserweight divisions that Usyk and Holyfield fought in. Oleksandr Usyk is the most accomplished cruiserweight of all time, already. Most accomplished cruiserweight ever. Yes, even more than Evander Holyfield. Yes, he is, okay? And I told you why. So he already had that going for him. And now in his 3rd fight, I think it was Holyfield's 7th or 8th fight before he fought for a heavyweight title. Usyk did it in his 3rd fight. In an era where there's more titles and all that, yeah, he didn't go for a regular title or an interim title. He fought for the unified heavyweight championship against the face, the brand of the heavyweight division. And don't tell me it's Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, because it's not. Tonight there was, 66,000 people in that stadium, right? That was Anthony Joshua, okay? That's what he does. Fury and Wilder are not on that stratosphere. Other than Canelo Alvarez, Anthony Joshua is the premier ticket seller, the premier attraction in this sport right now. And Usyk fought him in his 3rd fight in this division. No interim bullshit, no regular diamond gold bullshit. Right to the man, right? And fought him in his backyard. How long did it take for Fury and Wilder to negotiate that rematch? They didn't fight a rematch until, a year and a half after their first fight? Look how often or how badly they've delayed their 3rd fight now. It's going to be a year and a half after their rematch, right? That's even if it happens when it's supposed to happen next month. I think it will happen. But anyway, Deontay Wilder has stalled unification at heavyweight going back to late 2014 when he refused to step aside to let Berman Stavern fight Vladimir Klitschko for the undisputed heavyweight championship, and then he would face the winner because him and his people wanted no part of Vladimir Klitschko. Everybody knew Klitschko was going to destroy Stavern. So going all the way back to 2014, Wilder's been cock-blocking heavyweight unification. He did it this year, right? Tyson Fury's never had a defense of any heavyweight title. Never. He's used performance-enhancing drugs, right? The best win of his career is clouded with performance-enhancing drugs because he was using them that year. So those two guys are compromised. So in my opinion, the guy with the best resume at heavyweight before tonight was Anthony Joshua. Now, I'm not saying he had the best win, okay? You could maybe give that to Tyson Fury, although one of them was pretty clouded. But the guy with the best resume, the guy who had fought the most top 10 heavyweight fighters was Anthony Joshua. And more than that, he was the brand. He was the establishment fighter. Usyk goes to his backyard and gets the W. We've seen establishment fighters get the benefit of the doubt against outsiders recently, right? Kovalev and Ward, Triple G and Canelo. There's more I can name, but you guys know where I'm going with that. Usyk takes that chance, goes there to the Lion's Den, defeats this guy soundly, 8-4. It was a 116-112 kind of fight. Had him buzzed in the closing seconds of the fight. Fight ended with, I think, 5 or 6 seconds on the clock, which was kind of weird. But props to the judges and everybody, the officials there over in London, or in the UK. They got it right. And they got, the decision was correct. So the right man won. But I think people are underrating this win, guys. This is historic, man. This is unprecedented. This has never happened. And you guys got to understand that. You got to put this into historical context and perspective. You got to weigh all the intangibles, all the extras I'm giving you. Another thing that I keep hearing people talk about. Well, Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz, so who gives a shit? And Andy Ruiz knocked him out. Usyk couldn't knock him out, right? That's a really ignorant point of view. First of all, Anthony Joshua was not 100% when he fought Andy Ruiz. He was compromised going into that fight. Now, a lot of it hasn't been spoken about on the record. More will come out after Anthony Joshua retires. Books will be written and things like that. But he wasn't, trust me, guys, I can't really say on the record, he wasn't 100% healthy for that fight. Either way, Ruiz was losing the fight. And then he landed a good shot during an exchange on the temple that hurt Joshua, put him down, and he never recovered. So in a sense, Ruiz kind of landed a lucky punch. Now he followed up, and all credit to him, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Ruiz. He won that fight fair and square. But he kind of hit the lottery that night. Without that punch to the temple, how was he doing up until that point of the fight? It was a pretty clear win for Joshua. Ruiz was having moments, okay? But Joshua was winning the fight. Much, much different than this situation between Joshua and Usyk. First of all, Joshua was 100% healthy, had a good camp. He was 100% for this fight. No excuses. Also, Usyk wasn't a last-second replacement. Remember, Joshua was supposed to fight Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Ruiz came in last minute, so he was a late replacement, and everything else that happened with Joshua in camp where he wasn't healthy going into that fight. So there was all these circumstances. Dude, this fight between Joshua and Usyk, it's been planned out for basically a year, okay? Everybody knew this was happening. This was a collision course that started in 2020. So Joshua was 100% prepared for nothing but Oleksandr Usyk, and he was 100% healthy. And Usyk didn't land a lucky punch. He didn't hit the lottery. This wasn't just some heated exchange and he clipped him on the temple. He outclassed the most proven, I think, probably the best heavyweight right now. Now, am I saying that? Hear what I'm saying. Am I saying Joshua would have beat Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder? I think it would have beat Wilder. I always thought that. But would he beat Tyson Fury? I don't know. But he was more proven than him. He had a better resume. Joshua had defeated more top 10 heavyweights than Fury and Wilder combined. And he had done this consistently, and he had unified titles, okay? So for Usyk to go in and beat him the way he did, to outclass him, to outbox him, to outfox him, to outsmart him, to be more athletic and more talented than him, on the outside, in the mid-range, and on the inside. That is way more impressive than what Andy Ruiz did. And by the way, Ruiz and Joshua had a rematch. How did that go? It played out the way the first fight would have played out if Joshua had come into that fight 100% and fully prepared for Andy Ruiz, if he wasn't a last-minute replacement. So all these things are factors to consider when you look at the accomplishment of Usyk defeating Joshua. I'm just going to go to the chat real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. Whoa. Sorry about that, guys. Hang on one second. Like I said, this is impromptu. I don't have my setup here. Shit. I'm messing things up, knocking shit over. Oh, okay, here we go. I'm back, baby. The baby's upstairs sleeping, so I gotta keep it kind of quiet. Jack Alter here on the chat. Look, Jack called it. Although, Jack, you did say knockout, but you called it. Isan called it too. I want to say a few of you guys called it. You guys picked Usyk. And look, for the record, go back and watch my podcast this week. I said, I'm not in shock. Because Captain Hood Chronicles there is saying I'm still in shock. I'm not in shock at all. I said it wouldn't shock me if Usyk won this fight. I said it this week on my podcast. I said it wouldn't surprise me if Usyk won this fight. But I got to be honest with you guys. I thought the close rounds, I thought that any swing round, I thought that was going to go to Joshua. So I am surprised. I'm not shocked, but I'm surprised because, again, I'm going to go back to Kovalev-Ward, Triple G, Canelo. We've seen similar fights like this when you have the outsider versus the establishment fighter, and the establishment dude always gets the benefit of the doubt. It's not like this was a complete domination or a one-sided fight. It was competitive. And Joshua actually had moments. I mean, he marked up Usyk's face. He did have moments in this fight. So, I don't know, man. Maybe it's a Las Vegas thing. Maybe it's, but I was really surprised to hear the scorecards and to hear that Usyk got the benefit of the doubt in some of those swing rounds, because I thought that those would go to Joshua. I thought if it was 8-4, right, Usyk, that it'd be a draw. Yeah, I thought it'd kind of wind up similar to Canelo Golovkin 1. All right, I really thought that could be a possibility. So, again, it didn't shock me what Usyk was able to accomplish, but I was pleasantly, happily surprised that they got it right. So that's cool, man. That's great. But I think you could say 116, 112. Now, I need to watch it clearly, go back and watch everything start to finish again. But some of you guys are saying 9-3 and everything. Yeah, some of you guys are saying that Usyk completely schooled him. Okay, you know what? I gotta watch it again. I didn't get to watch it with full focus. Again, I'm with family, and so anyway, but I think for me, it looked like Joshua had moments in that you could give him upwards of 4 rounds. God damn it. Sorry, guys. I literally have my phone on a stack of books, and that's why this keeps falling over. So I can't talk much longer. But my question, and we'll talk about this on TNC Monday when I'm back in my studio. Where is Usyk pound for pound? Because I got to say, man, Canelo, he's going to beat the brakes off of Caleb Plant. He's going to unify the super middleweight division. But none of the fighters that Canelo has defeated in the last several years are on the level of Anthony Joshua. And so many American fight fans discount, discredit, and underrate and underappreciate Anthony Joshua. He's a damn good fighter. He still might be the second best heavyweight in the world. Usyk might be the best heavyweight. Joshua might be the second. He's no less than the third best heavyweight in the world right now, right? Maybe it's Fury, Usyk, Joshua. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But that's still pretty damn good. Also, let's not forget, Joshua has fought multiple top 10 heavyweights. He's lost a couple, but he's won most of them. So I think he's underrated. And for Usyk to beat him the way he did, where he beat him, I'm sorry, that's more impressive than what Canelo Alvarez is doing. And also, I got to say it, nobody in Usyk's camp has tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Usyk never has either. I got to put that out there. So right now, I think you can make a case that Oleksandr Usyk is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world. And I know I can hear some of you guys saying, well, Mike, I thought you don't rate heavyweights. Yeah, I don't. Usyk isn't a heavyweight. He's a cruiserweight. He's a cruiserweight that's fighting at heavyweight right now. That's why I rate him on my pound-for-pound list. I only rate heavyweights if they've done something really special, cleaned out the division, ran it for years. Basically what Vladimir Klitschko did, what Lennox Lewis did, guys like that. They're on my pound-for-pound list. They were on my pound-for-pound list. They were universally on the pound-for-pound list. Vlad was on Ring's list for years, almost at least half a decade. But right now, none of these heavyweights are. None of them deserve that. But Usyk is a cruiserweight fighting and beating heavyweights. And what he did tonight was really, really special and impressive. If you're just getting onto this, go back and listen to my entire spiel here, because some of the points I make, I think people are really, really overlooking. They're overlooking the historical significance of what Usyk did at cruiserweight. He's the most accomplished cruiserweight ever. And then in just his third fight at heavyweight, what he just did trumps, I think, what Holyfield did. Because I think it took Holyfield, don't quote me on this, guys, but I think it took him 7 or 8 fights to go for the title. Usyk did it in his third fight. And this is an era of interim belts and regular belts. He didn't go for any of that. He went to the man. He went to the money man of the division, the face of the division. And then you factor in his amateur accomplishments. Guys, this is historic stuff. This is like all-time great level stuff. Now, I'm not putting Usyk there yet, okay? He's still got more work to do, but he's building something here. Could he beat Tyson Fury? Could he beat Deontay Wilder? I think he could beat Wilder. I don't know about Tyson Fury, but it'll be amazing to see if he could do that. It really, really would. Here, I got a couple super chats I skipped over. I want to make sure I get to these real quick. As I hold my phone up here on a stack of books. This is like the crappiest quality video ever. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. Papa Chubby. Thank you for the super chat. He says, bottom line is the fans won tonight. Yes. And by the way, for all the fans who bitch about boxing, the best don't fight the best, or even when they do, the decisions don't go right. Well, here's a situation. The best fought the best. 60,000 plus fans showed up, and the officials got it right. And by the way, both fighters performed. Joshua had his moments, and there was high skill in this fight. There wasn't a bunch of ugly-ass clinching. There wasn't a bunch of haymakers from last Tuesday, right? There wasn't a bunch of windmill punches and all that kind of stuff. This was skill. These guys were in the center of the ring boxing. There was craft on display here. You got to give it to them, man. You really do. Let's see. I think there's another one on here. Chris Singh with the super chat. Thank you, Chris. He says, speaking of PEDs, what was that chemist's name that worked for Floyd? It was on the payroll. How many times did his blood come in questionable? I'll just say this about Floyd. He returned on regular urine tests, low TE ratios multiple times, and that's a dead giveaway. The Nevada Commission did not follow up once on those situations. They just kind of buried it. Didn't even come out to the media until years afterwards. I'll just say that. But all right, what else? I think I've hit on everything I want to say. And again, we'll talk more about this. We'll talk, I'm sure you guys are going to want to call in and everything Monday on the show. But to reiterate, guys, Usyk, most accomplished cruiserweight ever, fought in a much more mature, much more talent-rich division than Evander Holyfield did, and consolidated all the titles, won the tournament, did it in pretty dominant fashion. Only competitive fight was Marius Bradis, who's a pretty damn good fighter. And he ended up winning the second cruiserweight tournament, right? Then up in his third heavyweight fight, beats Anthony Joshua, who's not only the face of the division, the second biggest brand in all of boxing right now. I mean, north of super middleweight, it's Anthony Joshua. He's the guy. He's the most famous athlete in the UK right now. And Usyk beats him, but also beats him, a guy, Joshua is the most proven heavyweight out there, has the best resume, has 3 of the belts. That's amazing. And then he does it in his backyard. Real quick, guys, I just want to look over this resume real quick. Again, Usyk has done all this in 19 fights. He was fighter of the year already. What was it, 2017 or 2018? It was 2018 he was fighter of the year. He's going to win fighter of the year 2021. He's got my vote, and I'm going to do everything I can to push for him to win it this year. So that's 2 fighter of the year awards, 8 of the 10 belts available at cruiserweight and heavyweight. And he does all this in less than 20 fights. Now compare that to other guys who are marinating email titles, moving up and down for regular titles, fighting B-level opposition on pay-per-views. I mean, it's amazing. All right, so I'm just looking here. Krzysztof Glowacki, right? That was in Poland. Usyk beat him in Poland. He fought Michael Hunter. Very underrated win. Michael Hunter's a top 10 heavyweight right now, borderline top 10 heavyweight, and Usyk completely dominated him, and that was in America. Marco Huck in Germany. That's a good one. Marius Bradis in Latvia. Murat Gassiev in Russia. Tony Bellew in the UK. Comes over to America in his first heavyweight fight, fights Chaz Witherspoon, an American, in America. Then he fights Derek Chisora in the UK, and then he beats Anthony Joshua in the UK. There is nobody in the last 20 years of boxing who has gone on a run like this. Nobody. So if you're denying this guy's accomplishments, now I'm not saying you got to have him pound for pound number 1. You might have him number 3 or something. That's fine. That's fine. But if you don't have him somewhere up near the top of your pound for pound list, you're just a fucking hater and you're just ignorant. There's something going on there, something political, because I can't think of anybody in recent years that has gone on a run like this. This is truly epic. Justin with the super chat. Thank you, Justin. He says, should AJ leave McCracken, maybe go to Sugar Hill, etc.? Yeah, I didn't like McCracken's game plan tonight. You're going to stand there in the center of the ring and box with a guy who's maybe the best boxer in the world, pound for pound, and a southpaw? Yeah. You're the bigger guy. Get it inside on him, maul him, grapple, make it an ugly-ass fight. Use that beautiful rear right uppercut that you have. There's a good hook that AJ has. Pretty good jab. But once you get in there, man, push this guy, bowl him, move him around. You're in the UK. The ref's going to let you get away with that. I didn't love the game plan. So yeah, maybe in Joshua's corner, they can look at making some changes. I don't know. But there will be a rematch. Eddie Hearn is going to move hell and high water to get those titles back in AJ's hands because AJ is matchroom boxing. So it's going to be interesting the way the rematch plays out. Jesse Boxer with a super chat. Thank you so much, Jesse. He says, keep doing your show, Mike. I'm trying, but I'm literally talking on a phone that's on a stack of books in a family member's office, and there's a baby sleeping upstairs, so I can't talk much longer here. But I do, I can't wait to talk to you guys Monday on my show. I think it's going to be very, very fun. And there's going to be a lot of interesting opinions. Several of you guys, I saw Jack Alter on the chat who called this. Several of you guys picked it and called it. And look, I ate my crow. I thought the judges were going to favor Joshua. I thought the establishment guy was going to get the nod. I really did. Wasn't surprised to see Usyk outboxing him. I was pleasantly surprised to see what the judges did. But those of you who called it, we're going to get you on the show and we'll have fun. And we'll just talk about this fight because we haven't had a lot of good news to talk about this year. And we've had a couple of big fights. We've had a couple of unifications, but Top Rank blew the Taylor Ramirez promotion. It was just terrible, right? That fight underperformed. That promotion underperformed. Great performance by Taylor, but no one saw the damn fight. And then with Charlo Castaño, terrible result. Castaño, a lot of people felt got ripped off. Chocolatito Estrada, the rematch there. A lot of people thought that Chocolatito got ripped off, didn't like the result. But this was a huge event, right? Now, I know Canelo Saunders was a big event. There was, 73,000 people there, but that was a complete mismatch. That fight wasn't what this was. This was two of the best fighters in a division, good fighters. One guy really daring to be great. 60 plus thousand people there, and we saw a really, really good technical heavyweight fight with some good ebb and flow from both guys. But one guy clearly won. One guy clearly controlled it and proved he was really, really special. Judges got it right. Officials got it right. Fans won tonight, man. So this is a really, really just a great thing that we can discuss. And it feels good because we haven't had much of this in boxing in the last couple of years. We really, really haven't. So it's going to be really, really fun to chop this up with you guys, man. I can't wait till Monday. Ray Valero with the super chat. Thank you, Ray. He says they just signed AJ to a long-term deal too. Yes, good point. Matchroom just signed AJ to a long-term deal. So you got to think the rematch is coming early next year. The rematch is coming way before Usyk fights the winner of the third fight between Fury and Wilder. You're going to see these two fight. You're going to see AJ and Usyk fight again before that. Politics of boxing, contracts, but I want to know, what can Joshua do different? What can he do different? That's what we got to discuss. That's what we got to figure out. So I'm going to bounce, guys. I've been talking for about 30 minutes. I thought this would be a 10-minute video, but you know I love the chat. But so we'll chop it up Monday. All right, so be there for TNC Monday, 5 o'clock. We'll have the phones open, and yeah, we'll do it then, all right? All right, guys, have a good one. And boxing won tonight, man. It's not about who won the fight, whether it was Joshua or Usyk. It's that it was a great fight. The officials and everybody got it right. So like boxing won tonight. I just feel really good, really positive. And we saw something really, really historic with Usyk. Yeah, some people are mad. Some people are hating. I don't understand it. This is great, man. We saw history. Anytime you see history, you should be happy. All right, guys, I'll see you at the fight.